3 months ago, we had to leave Madeira for 90 days. As UK citizens, we no longer have the freedom of travel that we used to have before Brexit. So that means that we cannot stay in the Schengen area for longer than 90 days out of every 180 days. So in the meantime, we're back, we're living in our annex, which the builders finished beautifully while we were away. And so we are now able to see the house renovations, and it's so exciting, isn't it? And if anyone is interested or has any ideas about what you'd like to see with the house renovations, do let us know in the comments, because that would be helpful. So the day before our flight was booked to leave Madeira is the day that the builder started renovating our house.
So we saw the renovations after day one, and that was it. Or the demolition after day one.
And we walked around the house. And how did you feel knowing we had to leave the next day?
Kind of helpless. You have to trust everyone. They know what you're doing. You're not going to be there. And all we saw after day one was just piles of rubble.
Yes, it was.
Where there was things, they were gone. There was piles of rubble. And think, oh my God, is this ever going to turn into a livable house? But you just have to trust them.
We do have a very good architect, Katerina. We couldn't have done it without her. And Katerina speaks very good English, and she helped us choose our builder. And our builder doesn't speak English, but Katerina is our go-between.
When you say our builder, the owner of the building company, he can't speak English. Neither, by the way, can any of the builders.
No. How did you feel knowing that we were going to be away for 3 months, away from Madeira?
Here we go.
It was kind of a once in a lifetime, because we wouldn't have done it otherwise. We wouldn't have travelled to different countries. We wouldn't have spent months away from anywhere that you could call home, living out of a suitcase. We wouldn't have done it otherwise, because it is hard work. But we took it as an adventure.
We decided the first place we'd visit was Cyprus. How did we choose Cyprus?
So we wanted somewhere obviously that wasn't in Schengen. We wanted somewhere that was going to be warm. We wanted somewhere where the Airbnbs weren't extortionately expensive, and there was stuff we could do.
The sanctuary was destroyed by a big earthquake after the mid-4th century AD and was abandoned.
And Cyprus seemed to fit the bill fairly well. I mean, I don't know if we'd go back again for that period of time, but it seemed to fit the bill pretty well.
What is it you liked most about Cyprus?
I liked most. Swimming in the sea was nice. Some of the beaches were nice.
We found a secret beach, didn't we, which was so beautiful and so quiet.
The only reason it was a secret is a long walk from the car to the beach.
Yeah.
And people weren't prepared to do that.
But it was a beautiful place, and we used to go there and be the only ones on the beach.
Yeah, it was
so
nice.
that was really nice.
It was lovely and warm, but after a while it was too hot.
Yes, it was too.
Found ourselves dancing in the shade.
We used to get up really early to go for a walk before
and by
7 o'clock, didn't we?
8:30 it was too hot.
But the time did fly by, and we stayed in our first Airbnb for 4 weeks.
Where are we going, Andrew?
Gym. And then another Airbnb.
Bye-bye, Finicaria. What's it mean, Andrew?
Fionicaria.
Yes, tell me the story.
The story is that years and years ago, more than 2 or 3, like 100 years, 500, 600 years ago, the village was invaded and burnt to the ground just down the river a little bit. When there was a river, because now there's a dam. And they rebuilt the village further up the river in what was deemed as a more secure place, and called Fionicaria, which is something to do with a phoenix. So rising from the ashes of the burnt village came that one. That's what it's called. Fionicaria.
Thank you for sharing that story.
Yeah.
And then we moved to Aphrodite Hills for 2 weeks, which was more like a holiday there, wasn't it? Because we had more of a holiday
It was a resort
apartment
with shops and the gym and the pool and down. So that was a resort, wasn't it? It was like a holiday.
Yeah.
And at that point, we needed a holiday.
We did, because our time away was still very focused on what was happening in Madeira. We used to have calls with our architect, and we were still sorting out the visa, and it was very time consuming.
And it's stressful.
So the holiday, our last 2 weeks in Cyprus, that was a holiday, was very much needed, and we really enjoyed it.
Is it Madeira?
Darn! No.
No, Cyprus.
So we left Cyprus and we visited family in England, and that was a 3-week time in England, and it went so quickly. The first week we stayed with my dad and Kathy and Teddy. We had a lovely time staying
It was
with them.
great. They were great hosts. With some nice walks. We managed to kind of get ourselves to a gym 3 or 4 times.
And we visited Frome, which is where your family live.
Yep, so your dad was kind enough to lend us his car.
Yeah, so we saw your family in Frome, and we went to Dean's gym, which was brilliant, Falcon Fitness, because that really is a super gym. We went to London to see my children and to look after Leo because Amy and Josh were going to France for 2 weeks. And London was a bit of a disappointment because it started off, we went to the gym, we went to Hyde Park, we were doing a little bit of tourist stuff, and then we got COVID.
Yes.
And then before we knew it, we were leaving to go to our next and last place, which was Canada. And Canada we chose because my sister lives there and we wanted to go and stay with her and her family.
But also to help her, she was moving house.
Yeah,
So
her and John
we
were
helped them
moving.
move house, yeah.
So we started off in Oak Bay, which is where Julie and John were living. And a bit like us, they retired to somewhere a little bit slower pace of life. So they moved to the Okanagan district of British Columbia. So beautiful. We walked the Kettle Valley Trail a lot, and we cycled along there, and it was stunning. What did you like most about Canada?
I enjoyed swimming in the lakes and the rivers and everything. That was kind of nice. And all the vineyards, that was nice, and the cherry orchards, and we found a nice gym.
We did really love staying with Julie and John, and it was brilliant. But I think the whole time we were away, we didn't stop missing Madeira. And then before we knew it, our 90 days was up. We were ready to come home. It was a long way home. Our first 3 flights were with WestJet.
Yeah.
And we flew from Kelowna to Vancouver.
Vancouver to Toronto, Toronto to London Gatwick, then London Gatwick to Madeira.
And our London Gatwick flight to Madeira was with EasyJet. What do you think about flying into Madeira Airport? Because there is a lot of stories about the difficult landings, and they have extended the runway, haven't they? I know many years ago there was a lot of concern because the runway was very short.
I think it's the short runway is part of the issue, but the biggest issue is basically the side of the runway faces the sea, and the other side of the runway is a cliff. And the wind turbulence as it comes in off the sea, if there's no wind, it's okay. If it's windy, then the planes have got a lot to deal with. We've never, in all the flights we've ever taken here, none of them have ever given us any grief.
No.
Planes get diverted to Tenerife, they get diverted to Porto Santo.
But that's really the wind conditions, isn't it?
Yeah.
And in fact, the day we landed, the flight before us that was coming in at 2 o'clock did get diverted, and we were landing at 3:20, and we landed with no problems. And the one thing that I have noticed Everybody gives the pilot a round of applause when he lands the plane.
I think there's certain pilots have to undergo certain training to be able to land here. You can't, not all pilots can land here, I don't think.
Yeah, I think there is some
And
extra training. they
Extra
do.
big planes can land here either because the runway's not long enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll leave you with that thought, and we will be back soon with more informative videos for you. If you have any questions, do pop them in the comments below, and do like and subscribe, and we will see you soon.
To control the local time, the same as the UK, electronic devices are now used within reach for calls, messaging and for access. Keep your seatbelt fastened, remain seated until the seatbelt sign is switched off, doors are open, invite you to disembark. Take all your personal belongings with you, check in the seat pocket underneath the seat and in the overhead locker. Take care when opening the overhead locker in case anything falls out. Please do not leave any rubbish on. Please respect social distancing, allow time and space for others. Leave the aircraft, smoking is not permitted to reach your designated smoking area. Being responsible for our impact on the planet's important to reach jet, that's why we offset the carbon emissions from all fuel use on our flights by investing in projects locally, protecting against deforestation, and supporting renewable energy projects. Thank you for flying with us. We look forward to welcoming you on board once again very soon. Thank you and have a very good afternoon.